Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we got a few topics to discuss. If you are new, please do like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave all your thoughts in the comments below. It's been a bit of a slow news day the past few days, so I thought we'd just talk about a few of the main topics bundled into one video. We're going to start with Ben Whittaker. Now, it is said that Ben Whittaker is set to make his US debut this year. They're trying to plan for him to go onto that Virgil Ortiz versus Jerome Boots Ennis card. Yeah, that's good if that card ever actually happens. For Ben Whittaker, I mean, a great knockout victory in his last fight. I want to see him back in the ring sooner rather than later. I don't really like him sitting around waiting for other people. I feel like Ben Whittaker can just get a fight going. Doesn't really have to be in America. There's going to be heaps of cards that happen with Ring Magazine and everything else that he can put his name on. Why are we letting him just sit around doing nothing, waiting around for a possible fight that nobody knows whether it's going to actually happen or not? Maybe they are saving him because Eddie Hearn's on a good track here with getting that fight done, and he feels like it's just about to go over the line. Hopefully that is the case. If not, I think they're wasting their time waiting around for a fight that can and can't happen, because Ben Whittaker is an exciting fighter, and I hate when these fighters fight once or twice a year. Both fights, they might go 3 rounds in total, and that's all the action we get to see from the guy. If you win round 1 KO, there's no real reason you can't back up a month later, never alone a few months later. So for Ben Whittaker, I just want to see him back in the ring. Alexander Usyk, he's been given a voluntary defense, but the WBC have made it clear that as soon as he has voluntarily defended his title, he will be mandated Ajit Kabayel, which I love. I want to see that fight. I think Alexander Usyk, over the course of his career, he's earned the right to have a defense that he wants, a fight that he wants, an opponent that he wants, whether that is because of money, whether that is because of the type of opponent, doesn't really matter. I think Alexander Usyk has done more than enough in his career for everybody that he's been told to fight, no matter where he's been told to fight them. I think he gets that opportunity to do a voluntary. I think it's sort of been thrown through a bit of a loop here, because I think Alexander Usyk wanted Deontay Wilder and thought he was definitely going to get him. I wouldn't be surprised if it came as a surprise to Alexander Usyk that Deontay Wilder opted for Derek Chisora instead. So for Alexander Usyk, the opponents are now really questioned, because the only few names that I've been hearing is Andy Ruiz. I mean, I feel like that one's worse than Deontay Wilder, in my opinion. The other guy is Rico Verhoeven, who is a kickboxing legend, a Dutch kickboxing legend, that I believe was asking for Alexander Usyk to have a fight with him. That's almost a hybrid fight. That's a mixture between kickboxing and boxing, or 1 round kickboxing, 1 round boxing. Either way, Alexander Usyk, I think, would be comfortable in that type of fight. I feel like he's said stuff like that before, like he'd be happy to do a mixed martial arts fight and whatever else. If this is an opponent that makes him the money that he wants, go for it. I feel like Usyk versus Rico Verhoeven is nowhere near as exciting as just Alexander Usyk versus Ajit Kabayel next. Forget about the voluntary defense. You have your voluntary defense when Deontay Wilder is ready for you. I feel like we're going down the pecking order of opponents, of what you're actually wanting to do here. Do you really want your voluntary defense to be against a kickboxer in some weird mixed match fight? I don't know. I'm not big on it. I think I'd prefer to just see Usyk say, I want Deontay Wilder. Give me Ajit Kabayel next. Deontay Wilder, you go do your business with Chisora, then we'll meet up later the year and we'll do that fight then. I think this kickboxing guy, or Andy Ruiz, or any of these other names that were circulating, I mean, I had barely any interest in the Deontay Wilder fight, because I think Usyk versus Deontay Wilder goes one way, and one way very, very quickly, especially what we've seen from Deontay Wilder lately. I'm not sure what sort of mode Deontay Wilder's in. I think after that Simon Jordan interview, I do have a few questions about the mentality of Deontay Wilder. Not necessarily what they were arguing about, but the fact that I thought Simon Jordan just asked a simple question and Deontay Wilder turned it into something that it really wasn't about. And I think that might show a bit of mental fragility and maybe where he's at in his personal life, and lots of time that can translate into the ring. And after the performance against Herndon, we didn't see a great boxing performance, and we're not seeing a great mental performance by Deontay Wilder, so I'm not sure if he even gets through Derek Chisora at the moment. So for Alexander Usyk, I think I just want to see him get in there with Ajit Kabayel sooner rather than later. Ajit Kabayel's done nothing short of earn that shot. Alright, this one's interesting. Now, Wardley versus Dubois has been confirmed. I mean, it was basically confirmed a few days ago when I made the video. So if you want to check out me talking about it Go check out that video. But it's confirmed that's going to be at the Co-op Live in Manchester. It's going to be advertised as Don't Blink 95% versus 95%. Obviously, that's their knockout ratios. And look, I think the fight's going to be a banger. I'm surprised that it's at the Co-op Live. Now, obviously, I'm an Australian boxing fan. I can't tell you the ins and outs of the inner sanctum of boxing fans in the UK. I can only tell you from a distance. A heavyweight championship fight between Daniel Dubois and Fabio Wardley. It's going to be fireworks. It's going to be a massive event. Fabio Wardley sold out Portman Road, which holds 15 or 16,000. Maybe it holds a bit more, maybe it holds a little bit less, but in and around then against Justice Hooney. This is an all-English domestic dust-up for a world title, a heavyweight world title, and they're doing it at the Co-op Live in front of 25,000. And the reason I bring this up because Tyson Fury vs Aslanbek Makhmudov was confirmed as well. That's going to take place at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, which holds 60,000. That's in April. So I'm surprised that Tyson Fury, who's fighting Aslanbek Makhmudov, who's not really a big name, just got past Dave Allen, has got a few losses. Tyson Fury we haven't seen since December of 2024 is going to be in a stadium almost 3 times as big. All right, just not quite, obviously, but it's also not double. It's more than double what Fabio Wardley versus Daniel Dubois for a heavyweight title is going to be. I do find that surprising. Are we saying that Tyson Fury is a more saleable product than all English domestic dust-up? I am surprised. Obviously, I feel like there's going to be big names on that Fury versus Makhmudov card. It's not just going to be those two. It's going to be on a big card in Netflix by the ring. Obviously, Wardley versus Dubois is just a Queensbury promotion, but I am surprised that they haven't maybe set their sights a little bit bigger, a bit bigger of a stadium. When you think Alexander Usyk versus Dubois, they did a massive stadium. Wardley versus Dubois, is it that much of a drop-off when you factor in the fact that Alexander Usyk is in English? So, Lester Martinez will be taking on Emmanuel Alim for the WBC Super Middleweight Interim title March 21st. I find this baffling. I almost put this in the same category of Virgil Ortiz being an interim to Sebastian Fundora, and for nearly 2 years now not getting that fight. Lester Martinez, when it was first advertised, Christian Mbilli would fight for the world title. Lester Martinez would be the mandatory ordered for the winner of that WBC Super Middleweight title. Obviously, they couldn't find an opponent for Mbilli. Mbilli gets promoted to the full title, and then you have Lester Martinez that I thought, all right, well, just give Mbilli his first title defense against Lester Martinez. It's the rematch. It's the fight we all wanted to see. Easy done. It's all there to be made. It's all right in front of us. We all want to see that fight again because the first one was great. And now we got Lester Martinez versus Emmanuel Alim, and it's not even a fight that I think will be close. All right, no offense to Emmanuel Alim. I think Lester Martinez more than proved himself against Christian Mbilli. If there was any questions, they're gone now. It made perfect sense that a draw between Mbilli and Lester Martinez ends in a rematch for that world title, not Mbilli just getting promoted and Lester Martinez having to fight for an interim belt. That I think he'll win quite comfortably, and then who knows if he'll ever or whenever he'll get that fight. Obviously, I have my problems with the WBC and the way they run things. I think a lot of it has to do with money. I think almost all of it has to do with money, and having an interim and a holder, you get double the money, and I feel like that's what's at play here, and I don't think it should be. I think Martinez has earned that shot and should go immediately into it, not sit around and wait, get through Alim, and then who knows when that fight's going to come. All right, the last thing I want to talk about is the Zuffa boxing. Obviously, this weekend we got FA Jagba versus Charles Martin. It's basically the only event on this weekend in boxing. Bit of a quiet weekend. I'm very much looking forward to next weekend, though, which is Mario Barrios versus Ryan Garcia. During the week, I will be making some previews and other stuff for it. But Zuffa boxing, this is the first time I'm really sort of officially seeing it. I didn't know what weight classes they were going to be, but I think this is an official statement. Apologies if you've already seen it. It's going to be up on the screen. These are the official weight classes that are going to be recognized for belt fights. Obviously, we're going to see our first belt fight, Jai Patai versus Brendan Glanton. But the official weight classes are going to be heavyweight 200 pounds plus, cruiserweight 200 pound limit, and then light heavyweight 175, middleweight 160, welterweight 147, lightweight 135, featherweight 126, and bantamweight 118. Now, obviously, this is that UFC model, and I think it works for the UFC. I don't think there's a need for it to change in the UFC. Obviously, I think the weight changes in the UFC are much more drastic than they are in boxing. I mean, you look at someone like Alex Pereira when he was fighting at middleweight, and you look at how big he is at light heavyweight, and to go to heavyweight, the guy was massive to be fighting at middleweight, and maybe that played into roles of losing to Israel Adesanya and other things like that. But my concern with this is, I think boxing's landscape of having the 18, 19 divisions that we have is a great thing for boxing because Boxers can fight close to the weight, and a fighter that's fighting close to his weight is a healthier fighter, is a better fighter, puts on better performances. What I mean by that is John Tennis moving from welterweight to super welterweight, there's a clear difference. Even when you see it the other way around, Liam Paro, we've only seen him once at welterweight, but he didn't look anywhere near the fighter he did at welterweight against David Popov that he did when he was fighting at super lightweight against Subriel Matias and Richardson Hitchens and everybody else. I feel like it can work both ways. You know, you can either look great moving up the weight till, you know, you can find your weight limit. And Liam Paro, we're going to see against Lewis Crocker, we're going to see whether welterweight is right for him or not once and for all. But then you look at Devin Haney and the way he moved through the divisions at welterweight, he looks unbelievable. So I like the fact that the boxers can choose 2 or 3 pounds within divisions. You know, sometimes it's a bigger gap, sometimes it's a smaller gap. It also allows for more divisions and you can fight close to your weight. You can fight healthier. This here sort of excludes that because you're either fighting at welterweight at 147 or you're having to jump 13 pounds to fight at middleweight. There's no in-between for these fighters. You know, like Tim Tszyu. Tim Tszyu is too big to fight at welterweight, but I don't believe he's big enough to fight at middleweight. All right, we've seen Callum Walsh. He moved from super welterweight to middleweight. We're still starting to see that evolution of how he's going to fight there, but at the moment he doesn't look powerful enough to fight at middleweight. And I do worry that this will need to change in the future. I'm surprised that they haven't emerged it now. I think whilst you're building a roster and you don't have enough fighters, it's fine to work this program, but as they grow, I don't see how they can keep this up and have these fighters healthy and fighting fairly, because it's, you know, you can't change the way your body's made, and you can try and put on that extra weight, or you can try and kill yourself to get down one division, but it's going to affect your performance either way. You're either fighting guys that are too big for you, or you're shrinking yourself so far down that you're putting your brain and everything else in jeopardy to fight that division. So that's just my opinion on this. I think Zuffa boxing at the moment, it's a lot more questions than answers, and we're going to see that for the next few years. But this is one thing that I think will need a change eventually, because I just don't think it works for boxing, in my opinion. I'd love to know what you guys think in the comments. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'm out of here, guys. See ya!